Hi, welcome back. Episode 8, I think, of It's Loud in Here. We are in my closet, but we are on my phone. I can't figure out my stupid fucking computer. So, I don't know. I tried to do one of these the other day and I hated the way I looked on the phone. So I guess we're just going to see how this goes. It is April 4th. Big things. It is, I don't know, 700th day of 2025 in the year of 2 plus 2 equals sock and nothing makes sense anymore. Um, because I said that pretty much the only thing we could really do anymore with politics is talk about it and just be honest. These tariffs are wild. This man has no idea what he's doing. And uh, I'm just going to put this back because I can't stop playing with it. So these tariffs are fantastic. Everybody's prices on everything are going to go up. They are blanket tariffs. It's very exciting. I like how people focus on the fact that the man taxed islands with penguins. I do find that funny. Oh God, our economy is going to be exciting. So, welcome to the 2025 recession. It's impending. I just don't know that people really understand the way that tariffs work. We're just really going to get taxed. We're going to get taxed on everything. It is going to be exciting. It's going to affect the people that don't have much money a lot. I don't know that people really understand what's happening. Every economist pretty much across the board has said that this is a bad move. When inflation happened during COVID and then the price gouging, nobody told the corporations they had to stop. They didn't lower any of the prices. And now we're taxing everything. We're literally putting a tax on imports. And if you use any imported products to make your products here, you got to raise your prices for the consumer. I saw a friend of mine from middle school. She, I guess, has a small business. She was talking about how, and she's not wrong. The big corporations, they'll be able to handle the little tax hike a little. They'll be able to handle it better than small businesses. This will hurt small businesses that have to use imported products from everywhere. Madagascar, and he's basing his tariffs off of an algorithm that isn't real. I listened to something where they were like, it's like he just used Chat GPT to come up with a way to calculate the tariffs that were against our country, and it's not far off the mark. So we have, I think they said this is this is going to be the biggest tax hike that the country's had since the 60s. So that's exciting. But I guess if he takes the taxes off Social Security and possibly tips in overtime, it'll justify what he's going to do to the public. So just keep holding strong, MAGA fans. You guys crack me up. Other news from the government. I don't know what's going to happen with the FDA, right? So he took the FDA and he gutted it. And we've had a really big problem with romaine and lettuce and stuff, right? Like I don't know why. I guess maybe cow manure or whatever. People keep getting sick on lettuce. You're just gonna have to trust your lettuce now because they don't have the manpower or the people or the probably the expertise because I'm betting those people got fired. Also, the bird flu, right? That's going around that apparently can spread to cows and humans, and we're not gonna have vaccines because our number one vaccine guy, he just got fired. I would like to see statistically like other countries, Europe and Asia, and how many vaccines they all take. I am dying with this hair, man. If they have quite as many vaccines as we do, if they take them all, if anybody has tried to correlate, perfect. I got my head shaved the other day again. Just so the baby wispies don't bother me. So I'd love to see if there's a correlation in other countries between vaccines and I'm going to kill myself. Vaccines and autism. If anybody else has tried to do that, because I could see somebody trying to make a correlation between our garbage food, because that's real. Uh, that's not wrong, right? You can go to Europe and you can go to other countries and you can eat all the food here that makes you lethargic and fat, and it doesn't do that there. So maybe they should look at the food. But yeah, so vaccines, those are going to get interesting, right? We just had like the deadliest flu and we fired all our guys right before the major conference. So yeah, vaccines are going to get interesting. I don't know if they're going to go after medication. I had a weird appointment with my psychiatrist this week. He asked me what I weighed. I guess somebody out there is, I'm going to shave my head before this podcast is over. I guess somebody out there is concerned that people are taking Adderall to lose weight. Fun fact. I did not take Adderall to lose weight. I took a weight loss drug to lose weight. Adderall, I weighed 200 pounds on. So, yeah. What else? Oh, I think I mentioned this last time. No due process is necessary to deport people, right? So, like, that just enjoy this. This is just going to keep happening until I figure out a way where I don't hate the way that I look. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, right? There was this gay makeup artist who fled Venezuela. I don't know if I talked about this last time. Fled Venezuela for asylum. We picked him up for some tattoos. He's been deported. And the best part is that they're not trying to get him back. Like, they just say, oops, and then they leave him there. So God knows if he'll ever come out of the El Salvadorian prisons, right? And then the Canadian chick who, when she was told that her visa was not going to get renewed, they wouldn't let her book a flight. They just imprisoned her for 3 weeks. She just wanted to go home. She's like, I gotta book a flight. So she ended up in prison in Arizona for 3 weeks. And I don't know if I talked about this last time either. It had to hit the news for them to let her out. She said prison was terrible. P.S. Pretty sure prison is terrible because you shouldn't want to go there. But these aren't actually criminals. She wasn't charged with anything. She was just told her visa couldn't be renewed and they held her in prison for 3 weeks. So we're doing stuff weird. And I hope that at some point people realize that if they're willing to do this to people with, like the student visas where they're kicking people out for an opinion. And again, I was thinking about this today. I was listening to something and I'm just not going to try to be politically correct. So if that is a problem for you, you don't have to listen to It's Loud in here. There's like 10 of you anyway. You don't have to listen to It's Loud in here because I am not going to try to be politically correct at all. Ever. I'm just going to talk because at one point it didn't matter. Nobody was sensitive. Nobody was sensitive. And we did all sorts of things. Like Tropic Thunder is a whole ass movie where Robert Downey Jr. got himself tattooed with blackface to be a white guy, a fucking Australian, I'm pretty sure, playing a black guy in the Vietnam War. And it was hilarious. And no one got offended because, we're not Nancy's. Probably going to offend someone with that one. Maybe a Nancy. So just tell them their visas are being revoked and give them 30 days to get out of the country. You don't have to pick them up. That poor kid, that poor student who was just dragged off the street because of her opinion on Hamas. And again, you're allowed to have an opinion in this country. First Amendment. You don't get to come at me with anything. If you've ever said the Constitution, the amendments. If the only amendment you care about is the Second Amendment, you just want to have guns. I get it. I own one. Not a good shot. Zombies eat me every time. But legitimately, if that is the only amendment that matters to you, shut up about the Constitution. No one's ever going to take your guns. Children get murdered all the time. All the time. They get murdered all the time. Nobody cares. No one's coming for your guns. We let school shootings happen. They're never going to change. We're going to murder kids. No one's going to change anything because they're all babies and sissies and whiners. Yeah, we shouldn't be deporting people with visas, though. Not for an opinion, man. Because, again, two things can be true at one time. What Hamas did to Israel was awful. At this point, I'm sorry, but we are funding the mass genocide of Palestine, and it's a lot of children. And I don't think anybody can really look at what's happening there, even if they are Israeli or Jewish, and say that the murder of all those children is okay. At some point, there just has to be a line in the sand. Again, though, Hamas gives the people back because you still have some. It's a testy thing, and I don't live there. I'm not Israeli, and I'm not Palestinian, and it is a very long sought battle. And at some point, I don't know, man, it's rough. But we shouldn't be deporting students for opinions. First Amendment. You shouldn't be deporting them for protests. First Amendment. We have a right to free speech, and we have a right to assembly. And it should matter to people that they are treading on that, especially because, again, at some point, if you have a tattoo they don't like, and it doesn't matter that you're an American citizen, they might just take you because they're trying to go after birthrights, right? They're trying to go after birthright citizenship anyway. I don't know if it's only for brown people. If you happen to have a brown friend, whether he's a citizen or not, if he's got a tattoo that someone might not like, maybe you should warn him to wear clothes all the time and hide him because they are grabbing people for tattoos. That gay hairdresser or makeup artist, he had a crown and said it was a crown over mom and a crown over dad. And he was deported, claiming that he was a gang member. That's not right. That's not right. Those people should be able to, well, get out of El Salvador. You're not eating, and they're not even El Salvadorian. They're Venezuelan. Why are you going to El Salvador? It's just wild. Also, Trump said he might try to figure out how to be president a third time. That's 22nd Amendment. 22nd Amendment. You only get to be president twice. Then someone's like, well, then Obama can run. I don't know that Obama's going to fix the country, man. Yeah, all of our countries that we've now alienated with these stupid tariffs. Do you want to see something? I don't know. Don't get nauseous. Look at this. Look at this guy. That is Freddie Mercury. So this is a plus side to, look at that guy. This is a plus side to being on my phone as I can show you the dog. So, 22nd Amendment, man, 2 terms. But now Obama can run again, in theory, right? But again, I don't know that he's a solution either. But yeah, we've alienated all the countries that used to be our friends, and now they are becoming friends with each other. Japan, China, and Korea are talking about trade. And the Asian culture, traditionally, man, they're racist. Like, they have a hierarchy of what Asians are better than other Asians. They don't like each other. So we are wild in these streets, right? Nobody likes America right now. Why? Because we're bullies and we're dicks. And we're imposing tariffs on people who don't deserve them. And we just kind of suck as a country. Not as an individual. This is like the lemming herd situation. And Republicans. I love that Rand Paul said all these tariffs are a bad idea. Forget Paul. Mitch McConnell. We need a new Congress, man. We just really do. Yeah. So I still am not eating sugar except but once a week. And I'm super pissed off about it. I'm still not getting headaches, which means that sugar is a problem and I shouldn't have sugar. And I'm less swollen. Can't see it because I'm slouching and I don't know, it's just weird. But here, all my fluffy bits are less fluffy. So inflammation is real with sugar. Turns out it is in fact junk and it does in fact poison you, and it just makes me angry because I got a killer sweet tooth. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like with the temperature of the world right now and how everything is basically doo-doo buckets, I should be able to eat cake. Like, right now I should be eating cake in theory, because I deserve cake. I had a friend, I actually cleaned her house the other day so it could go on the market. She told me how her husband told her, like, if you set an alarm to a weird time, you get up. And I have been getting out of bed every day for 3 weeks now because I set my alarm to 5:03 instead of 5 o'clock. And I am perplexed and annoyed. And I am the girl who sets like 2 alarms and snoozes them for an hour, both of them. So they both go off every 9 minutes for an hour at different intervals. And I just lay there like, look at all the rest I'm getting. I'm not getting any rest because my alarm is going on. But now I get up at 5:03, and I really like being right about stuff. And I don't feel like I was wrong about this, but I didn't anticipate this. And so now I got this whole thing. Softball started. I have a game tonight, as a matter of fact. And so I'm playing on 3 teams, and one of them is like this dad who kind of coaches. And here's a fun fact about ADHD. We have rejection problems, and he just picks at me. And I'm sure maybe it's in fun, but he doesn't do it to all the girls. So now I'm convinced I'm terrible at softball. So I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but if I get in my head, I get the yips. I get the yips and I'm not even good at softball. Like, I just get the yips to be mediocre at stuff. And so I'm worried that I'm not going to be very good at softball this season on any of my teams. And one of them, the one tonight, doesn't matter. We've got 3 girls that have never played. And I'm like, why are you making us start 5 girls? That is nuts. So we don't anticipate winning. So this is really just for fun. But I don't know. You are your worst critic, but I just let people get in my head. Once something negative is said, man, it just lives in there. And it'd be living in there for sure. From practice last week, I had a cold. I've been sick in like 2 years. I had this cold. I was practicing softball and I stopped being able to breathe. It was like I had asthma again. I don't know how much that bothers other people, but it was terrifying not being able to breathe. I thought I was getting asthma, and then I realized I had a cold, and I was like, all right, cool. I don't want to be sick anymore, and it's finally kind of ebbing away. Maybe it's because I'm not eating sugar. I'm so annoyed by that. And Val Kilmer died. And I watched Tombstone, and that is by far one of my favorite Westerns. I think it is my favorite Western, and I think it is one of the best Westerns. I had this argument with my best friend. Although I love The Quick and the Dead too, with Sharon Stone, Leonardo DiCaprio, Gene Hackman. I mean, but if you look in Tombstone at the cowboys, right, the bad guys, there are all these elite actors. Well, elite might be reaching, but like Billy Bob Thornton was in that movie. He was the fat guy who was running the casino that Kurt Russell kicked out so he could run the casino, right? And then like Aiden from Sex and the City, he's one of the cowboys. And the dude from Days of Thunder who races against Tom Cruise, he's one of the cowboys. It was just, I haven't watched it in a minute. It was fun. But rest in peace, Val Kilmer, because I mean, it was a dog. He was one of the best. Ooh, look at this. Stop. Well, that was Charlie's butt. She woke me up this morning with a panic attack at 5 a.m. because there were thunderstorms. And I don't know about anybody else, but beagles have sensitive ears. And this girl hates fireworks and thunderstorms. And the summer for me is rough because I wasn't home. First couple of years I had her, I wasn't home all that much. It was, I was still drinking. Just rolling around in my bed right now. I was still drinking and I just wasn't around. And then now I hate leaving when there's thunderstorms. I hate leaving. I do not spend 4th of July anywhere that night, but at my house with that dog panicking in my lap. So summer is my favorite and my least favorite all at the same time. So I've been thinking about it's the nature of people, right? And I don't know. I would just love to know what used to happen when something used to happen in somebody's life before GoFundMe's existed, right? So say you were in a car accident and you got really hurt and you had to take time off work. What did you do? Did you have a savings account? Did you have Aflac? Did you have any other backup plan besides a GoFundMe? Because it didn't exist. And I'm generous with my money. My money means nothing to me. I've told you about my Nike situation. I just got the most badass pair of Adidas shell toes. I was told they were ugly by my best friend, and I almost broke up with her. But I'm reckless with my money, and so because of that, I am generous with it as well. Like I just got gas, 326, sneaky little Trump. So I just got gas, and it asked if I wanted to make a donation to a food bank. I said yes. I do it at the registers when I get groceries too. I always give to homeless people if I have cash. I will donate to dog rescues and cancer. Like if you just randomly find out you have cancer, I'm probably going to donate some money to you too. But these GoFundMe's, they're wild because I feel like if I had some career ending thing right now, I'd probably have to move on with my parents, and that is not ideal because they don't want my dogs. And I'm 43, I don't know how I would deal with that accountability, but I'd have to probably ask somebody for help, and I would do that. But I wouldn't expect them to give up their money, and people just do wild stuff with these GoFundMe's. Like I would love liposuction. I don't know that I need it many places. Maybe my stomach, possibly bat wings. My masseuse told me that the bat wings are normal because she is jacked and she has them, and so I'm trying not to be so hard on myself. But I would love some liposuction. Can I start a GoFundMe? Is that okay? Because I just see all these GoFundMe's. I just can't. I just can't. I don't like asking people for money. People just go wild with that shit. So that was one thing I was thinking about. And then that led me to I've had 2 jobs most of my adult life. And I've had one now for a minute. I actually clean houses kind of successfully, I guess. But uh charity, right? Like if you have to take presents at Christmas time because you don't have enough money for presents for your kid, but I see you out going to concerts and going to restaurants and going to bars, and I am not saying that you should not be able to enjoy your life if you're a parent. But I am going to say that they get to enjoy their life first because you had the child, and your responsibility as a parent is that child. Like they need to have a good life, and you need to raise them not to be a fucking cunt. That's what needs to happen there, right? Uh, so if you spend your time during the year before Christmas spending money on yourself, you don't deserve charity. Save your money. Stack it away until you have bills for presents. You don't get to do anything. And I mean, I grew up in a house where when we were tight, my dad's bipolar, uh, manic depressive. I don't know what they call it anymore. But you know, he loved to max out a credit card, which I mean, I wasn't raised like with a lot. I didn't have all the most popular stuff. I didn't have a ton of stuff, but I never wanted for anything. But like they'd be struggling for bills and he'd come home with a tennis bracelet for my mom and it'd be on the credit card. Just they figured it out. And I'm not going to say it made it easy on them because debt's hard. I'm paying off currently some tires and some brakes and a garage door that I had to buy for a client because I drove into their garage door. That was a nice $2,000 garage door. But you figure it out for your kids. And I watch people, it's just easier to ask for people's money and take charity than it is to work harder. Work harder. I don't know how this happened. I'm just not. I've been working since I was 16. It was a hostess, and then I worked at there's this place called Wolf Trap. Charlie Sheen. There's a place called Wolf Trap. It's a park for the arts in Northern Virginia. It's great. It does concerts. It's the best concert venue I've ever been to in my life. I worked there in the summers when I was in college. I had a job straight out of college when I moved to Maryland, and I quit that job. I had another job. I left that job when I had another job. Like, I am the person, I don't quit a job without a job. I have been fired because I like alcohol, and some things you're not allowed to do at bars. I mean, there's not many. Like, I mean, I did a lot of stuff, but generally when you're closing a bar and you're drinking, you should not also get stoned and take the random ecstasy pill in your purse, which I did. I got fired for that shift. Uh, I may have deserved it. I didn't remember the ecstasy pill. But so within a week of that, I think it was within like 2 days of losing that job, I had a job. Like, there are jobs. Some of them are not glamorous. I never thought I'd be cleaning houses. Cleaning houses has changed my life for the best possible way. But there are people that have been deported. Like, their jobs when people are like, South Park, they took our jobs. They didn't. You don't want to do that job. Everybody, generally the people I see running around cleaning houses, they happen to be Hispanic women. Uh, I'm not saying that white people don't do it, but I am saying that Hispanic people tend to do it. I also know that in restaurants and kitchens, there's a reason that they hire Hispanic people. It is because they work harder and they don't bitch. They make their money, they leave, they come back and they work hard again. That's another thing about these tariffs that crack me up, is that we have instituted these tariffs. Hopefully this man wakes up. Someone just hits him on the head and he goes, "Oh, I'm smarter than this. I'm going to take these away." This man loves to eat cake from the bottom tier so that it falls over. It is great to bring manufacturing here. We do not have the infrastructure for it. Now you're going to tell me, now we're going to get to build stuff. It'll be great. It'll make jobs. We'll have to build these warehouses. Cool. But where's the labor? You just kicked it out of the country. And a lot of these companies, they're not going to want to pay the wages that people that are not, and I'm not saying that they should all be illegal, but there is a standard of wage that is high, that is expected to be higher out of people that are not illegal. So now they got to pay, and they don't want to do roofing. Roofing's rough work, man. That tar. So now we got to find people to build they got to build these warehouses. They got to build the plants. Also, that's not going to make that many jobs either. A lot of these places are automated. So you're not making as many jobs as you think you're making. But we also don't have the cheap labor. So this is one of my points. Is it is, in my opinion, it is probably cheaper for some of these countries to keep using baby hands in China to make their products. Add the import tax onto the consumer and keep making that nut, because we require more money out of our labor force. Now we should absolutely make a living wage 100%, but we don't have the infrastructure to make this all happen right now. And we've cut out a major portion. I mean, Trump is trying to, he's trying to export millions of illegal immigrants. And I'm not mad at that. I get it. A lot of these people should have the opportunity to become legal based on how long they've been here. But he's cutting out a lot of our workforce. These people that'll work for cheaper, and the people that'll do the jobs that you don't want to do because you don't want to work for the amount. Like, why don't you just go work at McDonald's? You don't want to work at McDonald's. You don't want to accept that pay. I've made $15 an hour working at Costco. You know what that covered? Not fucking much. I had to take money from my parents. You don't want that job. But you do need to work more. If you don't have enough money, go get another job. It sucks. It sucks working two jobs. I 100% by the end of my drinking run was suicidal. Part of that was because I was working two full-time jobs and I was drunk the rest of the time. And I was miserable. And I was still poor. I like to drink and do drugs though. But go get another job. Go get another job. Get better at the one you're at, man. I get it. Like, We don't always want to wait on people. You don't always want to do the thing. Like, you just don't want to do the things you don't want to do. You have this idea of who you are, what you can do, what you should do. You're wrong. We have lots of entitlement issues in this country. You are not entitled to anything. And the only things that have to happen on a daily basis: eat, shit, breathe. Eventually you die. That's it. That is a guarantee. You're going to die. Maybe sooner than later, now that RFK is in charge of our health situation. Cancer research has been defunded. And the CDC, man. God, we are wild in these streets. We are wild in these streets. Yeah, man, we just need to work harder. I don't know if that's a part of parenting. I can't say that my parents did it perfect, because I know that they didn't. They did the best they could. It's so funny to me the way, like, if a dog has puppies, that dog knows immediately what it needs to do. The second the puppy comes out, it starts licking away all the inside muck and starts cleaning the puppy. When the mom feeds the baby, it will lick its nether regions to make it go to the bathroom. Like, these animals know exactly how to be a parent. Humans, you go to the hospital, you make a baby, they hand it to you and they're like, here, go raise this. And I've met some of you humans with babies. Not a chance. There is nothing about you that is smarter than that pit bull at all. And they expect you to raise a human. Not just raise a human, teach that human how to be a human and not be a cunt or a douchebag or a baby. Wild. And you suck at it. Terrible. I mean, if you've got 6 kids and you haven't raised any of them, stop making babies. How about that? Or if one of your kids is being raised by somebody else, or 2, or 3, don't get pregnant again, you piece of trash. How about that? If you aren't capable of raising any of your kids, if the state has any of them, if your family is raising your children, stop making them. Please and thank you. We don't need more of you. Not everybody needs to be a parent. We are not putting our smartest foot forward. I think I've mentioned this before. Idiocracy, man. Dumb people love to make babies. Dumb people love to make babies. Dumb people love to run around all willy-nilly shooting out their little sperm. I am going to bet that if you put a very intelligent, awesome person next to a dum-dum and you look at their sperm, dum-dum has all the swimmers. Intelligent man who would actually help our gene pool and make this world a little less idiocracy bound, where Brondo's got what plants crave, electrolytes. He is probably more on the sterile spectrum, because, good Lord, this country is getting dumb. We are just running around making children all the time. And then we expect someone else to take care of them. And I'm not talking about welfare. I'm not talking about Medicaid, which 7 million people use. 70 million people. 70 million? I think it's 70 million. A lot of children. They're going to cut that shit. Also, yo, dum-dums. You know how, like, Doge keeps saying, we found this money, but then there's no proof of that money and they just keep firing people? What do you think is going to happen to the money if they did find any money? Where do you think it's going to go? Where's it going to go? Because again, I'm going to do this again. It's not coming to us. Nobody's funding anything for us. We're not going to figure out how to make trade school and colleges free. We're not going to figure out how to make healthcare free and efficient. We are not going to figure out how to make ambulances free. We're not doing any of this, right? It's not for us. Where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? And everybody's so excited about these firings, except that people they're firing aren't the ones mismanaging the money. Those are the top people. Those are the politicians. Those are those dum-dums. It's not the people in the office. Yes, there's some that don't do anything. Every job I've ever worked, there's someone who doesn't do anything. Not all of them. Not all of them. You know who got fired? The inspectors in the coal mines, to make sure that the companies are doing the regulations to make sure the ceilings don't fall in on the coal miners, because 50,000 Americans have died in coal mines. And this guy, Chris Martin, he researched and he figured out how to make coal mines structurally sound so that the ceilings in these mines do not collapse on the miners. That's awesome, right? Except that now we have fired the people who will make the companies live up to those standards and not cut corners to save money. Doge. Same way we've cut brain cancer research in children. If your child gets a brain tumor, your child, you know what they aren't researching anymore? How to get rid of it. How to get rid of it and make sure it doesn't come back. Wild. Did you hear about the woman in Georgia? I don't mean for this to go this way, but we're just here now. We're just going to live this way. Did you hear about the woman in Georgia who had a miscarriage? And she got rid of the miscarriage in the dumpster, and she ended up passing out, and they found her bleeding. They've arrested her. The coroner had to do an autopsy on her miscarriage to prove that it never took a breath. It was not a viable pregnancy, and they charged her for that. I told you I vote for women, man. I vote for women. That's it. I vote for women, and that is what I have voted for. I've tried to vote so that that doesn't happen. So women don't get charged with murder for a miscarriage. Wild. In Texas, there is a guy in their Senate, a very Republican man who's very anti-abortion, who had to put a bill up to clarify uh, the rules on abortion because women are dying in Texas still because they can't get the DNC, because they need the miscarriage removed so they do not die or bleed to death. Men, all of you men who may have a sister Irma, I know you don't care about them. Maybe you'll care if you have a daughter. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't actually think any of you guys care about any of this anymore. I don't think you care that women die. I don't think that you care that people are deported and they shouldn't be. I don't think that you care that people got fired because you don't. Do you know what they did to HHS, RFK's department? Do you know what they did? They had people at the building. I know this. My friend works there. They got to work and they lined up and they didn't tell anybody they were fired. They had, and my friend has to walk like a half a mile now because there's no parking. So they had them line up and they had them go to the building, and they found out they were fired because their entrance card stopped working. That was how they found out they got fired. They got nothing. They went all the way to work to find out they weren't allowed to use their key card anymore. And that was how they found out they got fired. That is ridiculous. That is literally like lining up cows and just shooting them through the brain. That is, we are people, man. And none of you care. None of you care. I don't know why. I don't know what we care about anymore. It can't be money, right? Because gas is $3.26, so we are on the rise. It was down under 3. It's not going to be anymore. And now with these tariffs, everything's going to be more expensive. Everything. Because I don't know about you, but I don't have an avocado plant in my backyard. And our coffee, we don't get it from America. We get a little bit from Hawaii. Y'all are rough. And I know we get pineapples from Hawaii. I'd like to know where else we get them, though, because you know how many pineapples grow on a pineapple plant in a tree at one time? One. One. How you gonna get your pineapples? We're gonna be so poor. But on the plus side, like I said, you can always get another job, right? Because nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. I would love to be a sugar baby. Except I'm not a yes person, so no one would ever want to pay me to be their little like companion. I would annoy everybody in like 5 seconds. But it would be great if I could just do stuff for money. I love it. I love it when people talk at meetings like, you know what I did for money? God, I had sex for money and drugs. I'm like, awesome. I had sex for a cum shot. Like, I never got paid. I either got a mouthful or a mess. Whatever, man. I would love to be that girl who's like, give me a Rolex. I like presents. I love shoes. And give me some shoes. But I'm not. I'm not a yes person. That's why I work for myself. I'm not a yes person. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, that's why I'm not entitled to anything. This is why I work hard. When I was a bartender, the shifts where I worked by myself, I loved them because I made as much money as I was willing to work. Like, if there's a day I don't feel good and I don't clean 3 houses, it's my choice. I made less money than I was supposed to because I wasn't willing to work because I didn't feel good. That's mine. Like, I love that I am the person who controls what my life looks like. You can do that too. Everybody should do that. I do not believe. I mean, I also don't think that we should have to work 3 jobs to get by. That's for sure. But they don't pay us a living wage. So do better, right? If your job doesn't pay enough, go get another one to make ends meet so you don't steal charity when there are people out there who really can't afford things. I just don't like it when people take when they shouldn't. If you are doing all the things, you should not be taking presents for your kids. Just saying. This might have been weird. 34 minutes. I don't know that I actually talked about anything, but a little bit of nonsense sprinkled into some politics. I get all these things still about trans people in sports. You know what I wish someone would do? I wish Donald Trump Jr. is having like a steroid games, right? So you can't use human growth hormone and stuff in the Olympics. These are like the steroid Olympics. That's real. So like, why can't we just come up with trans league, right? They added flag football to girls in some areas, and I know that it would take money, and I know that we just destroyed the Department of Education, or Linda McMahon's going to, or whatever, and I know that it would take funding. I know that, but trans women should not play in women's sports. They shouldn't. I mean, again, I've played sports against boys my entire life. We're not the same. And as much as I know that you were born in the wrong body and you are emotionally and mentally and all the things female, your body isn't. And men are stronger and they are faster and they shouldn't play in women's sports. It's just how it is. And I'm not, that's a hill I'm willing to die on. I am not saying anything negative about trans people. I 100% believe that they deserve all the rights and they deserve all of the health care and they deserve everything in life, just not to play sports against women. Why don't we just make a new, like, women had to fight for Title IX to be able to play in their separate but equal. So why don't we just do like an extra title, Title 9.6, and make a trans league? Shouldn't everybody be happy then? Because I mean, nobody talks about trans men. I've talked about this before. Why don't they enter the conversation? Why doesn't someone talk about how they deserve something? Why don't we just, like, instead of just blanket statementing trans people can't, blah, why don't we just create a new league for trans people? Yeah, I don't know. Is that too much? Is that too far? Like, the idea of bringing manufacturing into the country, but before we start tariffs to cut everything we have to, we work on actually building the warehouses and the mines and we do that. We figure out what we can and cannot actually self-sustain here, like coffee, pineapples. I mean, like with Doge, we actually take a look at each department line by line and their spending. And we don't blanket fire people when you have no idea what they do there and just say that this is nonsense. Or not putting RFK in fucking charge of something he has no business being in charge of, and then he's firing all the people. I don't get how this is so hard. I don't get how you have to legitimately eat the cake from the bottom tier up so the entire cake falls over, and then people just say, look at that, good job. That's not real. That's not real. On the plus side, I drive a Toyota Corolla, and hopefully I can drive it until 2040 because I am going to drive it until it's on cinder blocks because I'm not going to have money for a car. Ugh, unless I get another job because nobody owes me anything and I should work harder. And I'm not going to start a GoFundMe. People out there who start a GoFundMe when their dog needs surgery, don't have the surgery, put down your dog, or get a fucking credit card like the rest of us grown-ups. I can afford the surgeries that my dogs would need. Now, Charlie Sheen is not getting one. She's going to limp the rest of her life because I don't have a house conducive to that. But I have credit cards like a grown-up for emergencies. Dogs needing surgery is an emergency. Don't do a GoFundMe. You have the dog. You have the responsibility. That's how that works. Just be a grown-up. I don't know why so many people aren't grown-ups. I don't know why. There's literally, it's like critical thinking just dropped off the map, man. Nobody listens to anybody anymore. Uh, it is wild. It is wild the way people's brains work, and it's all gimme, gimme, gimme. You owe me, you owe me, you owe me. Or we just run around telling people they're gonna get canceled. Like I said, I just have decided I will not be politically correct at all. Also, for the love of Pete, why are we calling homeless people unhoused? Right now they've got all these like nice terms for things. Food challenge. Now you're hungry, bitch. You're starving. Like the Somalians weren't food challenged. They were dying. They were skinny. They were super, super starving to death. I don't understand why we got to make everything so nice, nice. Nobody cares. People I know that have been homeless, they don't call themselves unhoused. They call themselves homeless. You know why? Because they don't care. They're homeless. God, we got to make everything so fucking nice. Nobody can just talk anymore. I mean, don't run around being racist. Don't be a bigot. But a lot of things you can say to people, if you're not a jerk, they don't care. I was getting my brakes fixed, and they just take you hostage in those places. They own you. I was there for 4 hours. This couple came in. The dude happened to be black. I was saying, I was like, they thought they'd be leaving quick. I was like, I just want to tell you, I've been here for 4 hours. I was like, they've kidnapped me. I'm pretty sure they're gonna murder me and eat me. And I was like, and you know what? You're black. You're gonna die first, for sure. So, I mean, saddle up. And he laughed. You know why? Because I was kidding, and I'm not racist. It's crazy how that works. If you're not a cocksucker, when you say stuff, people generally don't think you're a cocksucker. Unbelievable. Fucking stop being soft. I'm not saying rub dirt on it when you break it. Like if it's a compound fracture, probably don't rub dirt on it and walk away. That's nuts. But I mean, if you fell and you got a little raspberry, it's kind of okay to rub some dirt on it and walk up the hill. Tell your dad you fell off your bike, and then he'll take it from you because you scared him. It's the whole thing. This is unhinged for sure. I will be back. Maybe I'll figure out my computer. Maybe we'll do this where I keep moving around while I'm on my phone the whole time again because I don't know what's going on. If you happen to like this or subscribe, maybe I'll get into a YouTube algorithm and maybe we can try to talk about how other people should be in our government besides these Democrats and Republicans. Because, I mean, way to go, Booker, 25 hours. You had to have a diaper on, man. I was like, I don't know how he went 25 hours without peeing. I do. He either had a catheter or a diaper. Come on. But yeah, man, we need other people in our politics because they are doing us dirty. And someone is going to have to repair what this man has broken throughout the world. Because, I mean, I love an American who thinks we don't need everybody. We need everybody. That's real. This country, I mean, this world works as a unit, and we have. Turns out we were the uniting tie, right? Like we were that slip knot. We were the piece that you pull, and then everybody falls apart. Except they didn't. What they did is they have now become friends around us. We are now the kid that is sitting alone at the picnic table. I mean, we might still have Putin. Penguins are mad at us because we're taxing them. Wild in these streets. So Wolverines. I mean, seriously, try liking this if you wanna. Maybe subscribe. All that shit is free. It costs nothing. Maybe we can just get people talking. I appreciate you guys. Thanks.